Good morning and welcome to a special, very special edition of Truth to Power. And I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and I have in the studio with me the legends. I can mention the first legend, and that is the person that I think everybody in the city of Detroit and surrounding communities know him. And everybody, when they spell his name, they do not make no mistake. It's Heaster. And that is Mr. Hester, followed by Wheeler. The awesome man who I admire most when it comes to everything that he's done. I always say when I grow up, I want to be like him.
Bless you, Darwin Griffin.
Be like Hester Wheeler.
Absolutely.
But this is the man.
Yes.
This is the man that so many people, I can say the words. He may be imitated, but there's none but the best, and that's Hester. Hester Wheeler,
Absolutely.
thank you for
Thank you
being
so very
present.
much. Darwin Griffin, it is my pleasure. I believe that service is the price we pay for the space we occupy. I think it is so very necessary that we continue to help people and make a difference. And I am particularly pleased to be here in this moment. I am particularly pleased to be here in this moment, largely because we've got a lot of things going on.
Absolutely.
And I know we're going to talk about a lot of those things that are going on.
Absolutely.
But
I should have you
I just
introduce
wanna-
our others.
Oh, what a
I
pleasure.
should have you
What
do
a
that.
pleasure. But the one thing I want to remind people is that faith and fear cannot occupy the
Same
same
space.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So whatever's going on, we've got to go forward and be unafraid.
Mm-hmm.
I had the unique opportunity to bring some remarks a few days ago at another MLK occasion. And I know this is not a Bible session, but I wanted to remind people that the same power that brought us here is the same power that's going to take us there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Do you follow what I'm saying? And I want to remind people that one of the best ways to manage distress or fear is to do something.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning is
Yep.
doing something. And I have, is it okay if I
Yes, it
introduce
is.
our special
Absolutely.
guest?
Absolutely.
I am so delighted. I could not have been more excited when I saw this appointment. I've had the pleasure of working with this community activist, this community advocate, this solid, just very cool, calm, and collected, but very, very impactful leader. Very well deserved. I think her star will continue to rise because she's got that oomph. Everybody don't have that oomph. A lot of people have, nice to see you, but boy, I mean, this sister is a delight to see. Often imitated, but never duplicated.
Never duplicated.
Please meet our new Deputy Mayor, Malia Howard. What a pleasure to spend time with you.
Oh my
Good morning.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Can I just say, both of y'all,
Oh,
I get
my
to
God.
sit between, if y'all don't know in the community, I'm literally sitting between two giants.
Bless you.
And
Bless
I love you both.
Love you back.
And you always give me the most glowing introductions.
them
And
back.
it actually, I'm going to say this. He introduced me at a NAACP. It's in essence a cattle call.
Yeah.
You know, we all come up and talk, right?
That's right.
He introduced me, and I was standing right next to. I didn't know who he was talking about.
Ooh,
I was like, "Who is he talking about?"
Yes.
And I was, and I said that as much at the mic before I had to, do these questions, and I was like, "Is he talking about me?" And
You know it.
it
She's
shook
so
me
humble.
to the core
She's so humble.
because you don't ever know how people see you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know how people
Yeah.
view you. You just know how you. Or you think you know how you radiate out how you radiate out
Radiate,
into radiate out into a space, but you never know how people receive it and how people actually see you.
Wow.
And I can say this with you, every day.
Well,
I
you've
love
lived your commitment to the front line, and in this election season, one of the pieces of criteria that Darwin and I and so many others keep talking about is when people come to you, they really should bring their track record of service.
Yep.
When people ask you to consider supporting them, they should tell you not just who they are, but what you've done. Who have you helped?
Yep.
And I just think you have a long list of making an impact. I've been
Thank
at
you.
organizing meetings. I mean, and I do believe we will all be measured by how we treat people.
Absolutely.
And how we treat the least among us.
Yep.
And I think there is a solution to everything. I love people who would offer themselves up for service. And Malia Howard has been committed to service for a lot of years. I think your light shines very bright.
Thank you.
And you know it's so interesting, Hester, because when I surprised our new deputy mayor
Deputy Mayor.
that you were going to be co-hosting the
Yes.
show with us today,
Yes.
you should have saw that light
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
shine.
appreciate
I
that.
mean,
Yeah,
she just
it's
had
mutual.
a glow. And the only other
Yeah.
person that it was kind of compared to
Yes.
was when she met the owner of
RJ.
WHBR,
RJ.
Yes.
RJ Watkins.
Yeah, he's a legend also.
I teared up.
mean,
That caught me off guard.
RJ is a
completely.
legend. He's been in the game
Just
and
a
he's
legend.
been steady. He's been consistent, and he's worthy of regard and respect and appreciation. We need WHPR and all of the legacy that RJ and so many others have been committed to for so long. I don't know where people are getting these clips from the scene.
I know.
Have
They
you seen
everywhere.
them?
They
They're showing
everywhere.
up on YouTube.
They're
People,
on TikTok.
people are going, and Alexis don't have a clue
I
about
told her
what
to
we're
go
talking
look. She
about.
don't.
And we got to bring Alexis.
don't.
Let,
Yeah.
let everybody know who
Yeah,
Alexis is. that
So
came with.
with me today is our deputy director of the comms department.
Yes.
So we have like different media teams, right?
That's
and so
right.
I manage media services, which is social media. And Alexis is on the mayor's comms team. So she's right there. She's the one who writes all the press releases and briefs, and she's the one who goes and scopes out all of the sites and just make sure that everything is effortless for the mayor and for myself.
That is
So she is
Is she 21 yet? I don't know.
she's still a baby.
She's still
Give
a
her
baby.
name
Still
again
a
so
baby.
everybody will know
So
this name.
everybody needs to know Alexis Ware.
Alexis Ware.
Alexis Ware.
W-A-R-E.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Welcome
Alexis
to this circle, Alexis Ware. We need you. I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
Malia, how long have you been with the mayor, and what is? Were you surprised when the mayor tapped you to
Oh, my
consider serving
goodness.
as deputy mayor?
Yes. So, okay. Again, you don't know how you present yourself,
Yeah.
right? So I've been with the city. I've been with the mayor for 6 years.
Yes.
Prior to that, I was with the Michigan Democratic Party for the One campaign.
Awesome.
And so this has just been a ride for me. So I started out as the District 5 manager.
That's right.
So I did that for like 3.5 years. But inside of that, I wasn't just the district manager. I was also the mayor's union liaison.
That's right.
I headed up the major projects that you see in the city, so all the major developments. And so that's what I did as a Don. Subsequently, I came up to the 11th floor to be strictly the major projects manager, again, still doing union outreach and engagement, community relations. And so when he asked me to be deputy mayor, I was completely caught off guard, because it was like, so let's talk about
Very
your
humble.
future. And I was like,
Very
I'm thinking
humble.
I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know what we're talking. I didn't know what we was talking about. I was just like, oh,
You
okay.
had no clue.
Post administration, is that what we're talking about? And then, because that's really where my brain
Yes.
was. And he was like, no, I want you to be deputy mayor. I was
Ooh.
like, what?
He went right there.
He just went there, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm
Mayor-
confused.
Mayor Duggan is like that too.
And I asked him, I said, you trust me like that? He was like, well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, so let's do this. Like, it was,
yes.
no one prepares you for that. No one prepares you for that conversation. And that wasn't even a thing. Like, that wasn't even a thing.
But you've been prepared
So-
for this awesome responsibility long before you got to this moment. People do trust you, Madam
Yeah.
Deputy
Thank
Mayor.
you.
But you've earned the trust, and you have a spirit of humility where you know that I've always challenged people: don't ever choose to dwell beneath their privilege. Step into your light.
Yeah.
You follow me? Step into your light. So this is your moment. And do you have a specific set of duties, or is it all encompassing?
No, well, it's both.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
no, it's both.
I already do the
So,
answer.
so I manage, I oversee the health department,
Yeah, good.
the media services, social media, which is the TV networks, all of that, and the CVI, Community Violence Intervention
Oh, good
program
for you.
that
yeah.
Edison created.
It appears
Chief
to be
Edison
successful
created.
too.
Completely successful.
Appears to be successful.
Completely successful,
Yeah.
and looking forward to the expansion because my neighborhood is now set to have a CVI group overseeing it. So
Oh,
we just
good.
got to get, some things
Yeah.
done in Lansing,
Yes.
but with the Public Safety Trust Fund. But all that being said, it is amazing, and it's amazing that I already knew all of them. And so it made me feel good that
All of the players in
all
the
the
CVI
players in the
world?
CVI world.
That's awesome.
See? Through politics, through
community
doing
connections.
all of that.
Community connections.
I knew all these people, and so it's a level of comfort.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to this expansion, and then not just of them monitoring these neighborhoods, but the expansion of CVI to really get ingrained with the community, with the block clubs, making sure they know the seniors on their various blocks. That level of granularness is needed in order for us to continue to combat crime and to lower crime. So
well, I
I'm
want
excited
you
about it.
and Alexis to continue to tell that story, because I know that we can solve our challenges. We can solve our own problems.
Absolutely.
And I've got a mega dose of what I call Wheeler wisdoms. In fact, I'm gonna start my own blog or
You need to write a book.
I am writing a book.
Really?
Malia. I'm 100+ pages into it, and
Wow.
I'm finishing another degree at Wayne State University right now. I'm going to
Okay.
walk across the stage April 30. I've always wanted this degree in African American Studies.
Oh, wow.
And on this journey, what I've learned are the things that I just did not know that I
Right.
did not know. Do you follow what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
This thing is so much deeper. But resilience and resistance is so very woven into our DNA. We can solve our problems. You'll hear me say things like, the power of the people is always greater than the people in power, and what that means is
Absolutely.
you do have power at the grassroots and
Yep.
community level. Those folk who would wreak amok in our communities, they think they've got the power, but as soon as we stand up,
Right.
as
Yep.
soon as we fight back,
Right.
Yep.
as soon as we speak up, they run, they scramble.
Yep.
They're almost like, I don't want to use negatives, but you know what happens when you turn on a light. Foolishness don't dwell
In
when
darkness,
the light is
when the
on.
light
Yep.
comes on.
Yep.
Right.
You follow me?
'Cause we
So
clearly
bless
see
you.
it. So yeah, I'm excited. And then also my Saturdays in the D program, which was started by Jimmy Settles when he was at
Oh, my
UAW
man.
Ford. And when he
Another
came,
legend.
I love Mr.
Yeah,
Settles.
another legend.
And when he came to the city, he brought the program with him. And
Yeah.
so it was focused on, youth mentoring and after school activities like swimming and MMA.
We
and
know
so that program.
we know the difference it makes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that program,
Yeah.
when we started, my longest serving major project has been the University of Michigan Center for Innovation. So
Okay.
when I started
wow.
when I started that particular planning project is when I basically started at the city. And so it's been
Wow.
a 6-year journey.
Wow.
And when we first started negotiating with U of M about this, I was like, Malia, we need to have camps here in Detroit. I want our kids to have the same experiences that they have in Ann Arbor for those particular camps.
Go
there's
Mayor Daggett.
tons of camps, right?
Go Mayor Daggett.
So I took that challenge and I said, Mr. Settles, can we use Saturdays in the D as a test model for these camps so that we can bring those camps from Michigan down to Detroit and figure out how this is going
Make
to
it work.
right?
Yes.
Been through multiple presidents. President Ono,
Yes.
is the one who completely green-lighted this.
And tell us who he is now. I've seen his name.
Yeah,
or
so
seen
Santa
him.
Ono is
Yeah.
the new, he's not really new now, but he's been there for like almost a year and a half.
Yes.
He's the new president at the University of Michigan. He is completely a Detroit file. He loves Detroit.
He better.
Everything
That's good.
about our city, he
That's
is
good.
consistently down here.
Okay.
Wanting to engage. The UMCI team is very much engaged in what's
And
happening in the city.
UMCI is
University of Michigan Center for Innovation.
All right.
So this is a grad school,
Yes.
and it's focused on engineering, AI. It's literally going to be U of M's AI hub in the state.
And so you've been managing this program since the inception.
No,
And it's been-
it's been happening since 2013, but I
Okay.
took it over and morphed
6 years
it.
ago.
Yeah, I
morphed
morphed
it to the next level.
Into-
So
okay.
this is what it is now. So yes, we still have summer camps for the kids, but that's not it. I literally, and Hester noticed, I literally was driving to Grand Rapids to take my daughter to a tournament because she plays
Wow.
travel sports.
Wow.
And literally, God spoke to me and was like, Detroit is Wakanda. And I was like, absolutely.
Ooh,
It was like, absolutely. But that's not what it was about.
Detroit is Wakanda.
It was
I love
about that.
Ooh,
I
power to the
transitioned
people.
Saturdays in the D to be really heavily focused on adult education.
Yes, so
and
necessary.
continuing certificates.
So necessary.
And so when you think about what UMCI is and what it's supposed to deliver for grad students, well, we're going to be delivering that for the general population. We're gonna be delivering that for our residents.
Good for you.
And so, and it's only Saturdays in the D only helps our residents.
Good for
You
you.
have to be a resident
Good for
of
you.
Detroit
Good for
to be
you.
able to participate in this free program. I have professors from U of M coming down here and teaching every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Wow.
So right now, like when I say Detroit is Wakanda, when we think about it in terms, I mean, think about what Wakanda was, right? All the
Yes.
technology, all the innovation. This is us.
That's-
Okay, that's us.
The power of the people.
Right? The power
Yes.
of us is here. We are the city of innovation. We've been that consistently
Look at
for,
Malia.
centuries. And so, and people don't realize that. It's
That's
not
right.
just the 19, it's the 1800s too. So like we are primed for this. And when I say this, I say that my first cohort by the summer of this year, that first cohort of people who took Python and took that coding language, this summer, they will actually have in their hands a complete certification from the University of Michigan,
That's pretty
which will
wild.
allow them
Yeah,
to go out and get jobs that actually start
Access
at
to
like
op-
75,
That's
80,000
what I'm talking
a
about.
year.
Working wages.
Right?
Yeah, working
And
class
so
wages.
those
Yes.
folks, it's 15 of them right now.
Right now.
Those folks, and you know, I keep pushing people. Make sure you stay. Make sure you stay. Make sure you stay. That cohort of folks, 15 people.
Yes.
We've helped 15 people now change their trajectory,
That's it.
change their life, but
Pathway
not
to-
just their life.
Yeah.
It's their families.
Right.
It's
That's
that
right.
cousin that's watching them do
exactly
All
this
those
on
spheres of
Saturday.
influence
That's
that
they're
sphere of
around.
That's
influence,
exactly
right?
right.
So I wrote I used to do corporate trainings. I wrote a training called the Circle of Seven, and you're in the center, and it's that sphere, those 6 people around you that, for rightly or wrongly, control how the family is
Without
shaped
question.
out.
Look at
right?
Malia. She's
So,
heavy.
you know, that's mom's,
Ooh.
grandma. So it's a thing,
That's
right?
heavy, yes.
So having that little cousin that's number 6 watch you
That's right.
excel and succeed, that gives that person courage.
The circle of 6.
It's the circle of 7.
Oh, you
'Cause
said circle of
seven.
7. Yeah,
Circle,
good.
'cause
Yeah,
you
bless
7.
you. 6 people around.
But this
you,
is
yeah.
for me, Saturdays, and this is my thing. This is my jam. This is what I get excited about, right?
Yes.
Because I get to see people coming in. Like right now, we're teaching project management.
Yes.
And so I've got a wait list of 79 people.
That's a good thing.
Who want project
That's
management.
a good thing.
Who want to, because that right there, that certification holds weight,
That's a good thing.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I get off.
No,
passionate.
but that's
but you know,
so-
but you know
the
the
stuff
good
that
thing.
causes me,
The
you
good
know.
thing about it though is that it's good because we lose a lot of good people.
That's right.
Yeah.
To go to other states,
Yep.
and now with what you're doing, is that you're keeping the people back here. You're giving them opportunities to grow here,
Yep.
rather than take their talents and grow someplace
Somewhere
exactly
else.
right.
And it's not just coding language. We're teaching people about how to run good businesses, how to be leaders in the
Entrepreneurial
workplace,
skills,
being
yeah. Work
managers.
for self,
And so I'm
yes.
gonna tell y'all this, and this is gonna be the first out to the public. We've been talking about this internally, but it's a thing.
So we get a scoop here
get a
on
scoop.
Ooh-wee,
Okay.
Alexa.
You get the scoop.
Here we go.
So the grad school, Ross School of Business,
Yes.
up at U of M, is literally writing me 2 programs, one for kids, one for adults, and it is literally tech entrepreneurship.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
wow, that is
That's
awesome.
the
So
future.
they're
That's the
writing
future.
a certification for adults
Yeah.
in tech entrepreneurship. Like, there's no way that I could sit here in all the capacities that I've had at the city and not ensure that our people continue to strive and grow.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
You can't come to a job
Yeah.
like this and just go, I'm going to work. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And literally, every step is divinely ordered. And I wanted to tell you this too. So I was at Church of the Messiah.
Go
I'm sorry.
right ahead. You
I
go
was
right
I'm
ahead.
sorry, 'cause
You're
you
the
had a
special
whole
guest.
program, and
You're
I'm-
the
and
special
I'm
guest.
I can just put
You
these
go right
questions
ahead. Yeah,
aside.
we don't need
I
to
didn't
know.
even need
Yeah,
these
you
questions,
go-
so
you
you
go
know.
right ahead.
So I was at Church
We
of the
love
Messiah.
Malia Howard.
This is Hester. This is Hester's influence on me. And this is why I want to tell people. People don't realize we go back like flapjacks.
Yes.
And sitting at the NAAC Political Education Committee meetings that he chaired, like that was a thing. That was my jam.
Yeah, that was the day. That was the
Yeah.
event
Me,
that you
him,
had
and
to be
Simone.
at.
You had to
Right.
go.
And
Yeah.
Simone, oh my
Yeah.
God, like
Yeah.
that.
You guys are
Him
so
and Simone
dynamic.
were just my like.
You're so dynamic.
my
yeah.
like they just poured into me,
Yeah.
right? I was in my 30s. Ooh,
Ooh.
let's not date ourselves.
Bless you.
Which wasn't that long ago.
That's
so
right.
we
Well, it's
go.
not that long
Right.
ago. Not that long ago. But you said something, right? You taught me this. So I was lit. So I have these driveway moments. You know how they call NPR moments and the driveway moments? Okay, I have them every morning when I'm taking the dogs out.
That's
Okay.
pretty good. NPR.
NPR, National Public Radio.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
So they
yeah,
call them
yeah.
driveway moments,
Okay.
where you can't get out the car because the story's so good.
Oh, I know
So
that.
you're sitting there.
I know that.
Right? And so I'm
yes.
always like this because I'm an NPR person.
Yes.
So
That's good
I do it
stuff.
every morning, right? So, you know, I get up, I'm saying my prayers outside while I'm talking to the dog. I'm having my conversations and waiting on the dogs. So Sunday, I went to Church of the Messiah. Sunday morning, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about. And then I went outside and I was like, okay, Lord, this ain't panning out. What am I supposed to talk about today? What is the message I'm delivering to the church? And he was like, the outstretched hand. And I was like, ooh,
Wow.
wait a minute.
Wow.
And so literally pouring into me as I'm standing there, I'm talking, I'm walking through it, doing circles around the backyard driveway. And I'm like, we're going to deliver this message. And it's literally focusing on your outstretched hand.
Outstretched hand.
Stretching your hand out to
living it.
literally greet someone.
Yeah.
And I said this, and I sent this to Alexis. I sent her the audio file because I was like, I'm trying to do this, and I can't figure out how to upload it on social media, and I got frustrated.
Yes.
But it's literally extending your hand to ensure that the community, the person that you're engaging with,
Yeah.
understands and they know that you see them and you acknowledge them.
That's right.
And that we're here to help you.
Good
I'm
for
here
you.
to help you.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you in
You've,
any part of your journey.
You've literally
Go from A to Z.
You deserve a lot of credit for helping to change the narrative, and what you just talked about relevant to CVI and now the outstretched hand and Saturday and the D. That's the new narrative for the Detroit that we want to see going forward. You've got to continue to tell that story. What you've described as the outstretched hand is the same thing many of us say relevant to hold the door. How many times have you been?
Yes.
How many times have you been running to get into a building? You've got to handle your business,
Yep.
and somebody's 4 or 5 steps ahead of you, and they let the door,
let the door
close.
Yep.
How many times have you been running for the elevator?
Drives me
and
crazy.
you're just 2 steps away, and they let the door close. And all I'm saying to the Malia Howards of the world and the Darwin Griffins of the world, we have an extra obligation to hold the door.
And we got to take a quick break.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
hold that thought, Hester.
Hold
that
the door,
thought.
yes.
Deputy Mayor, we'll be right back. You are watching Truth to Power with my
Truth to
very
Power.
special guest, Mr. Hester Wheeler, and Deputy Mayor of the City of Detroit, Malia Howard. We'll be
Malia
right back.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Love the Hustle Show, Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m., followed by Mr. Smooth's Ballroom and Steppers Express Dance Show on WHPR 15.2 Detroit, Apple TV, Roku, and many streaming platforms. See you Saturday.
You could tell from that first half an hour how special this edition is to have my special guest on this episode of Truth to Power. And I can't say enough about the accolades that everybody gives when I mention Hester Wheeler's
Bless
name.
you, black
Absolutely.
man. Bless you.
There's
Oh
not
my
enough.
God,
There's
bless
not
you.
enough. There's
Oh
not enough
my
space in the
God.
room
Oh my God.
for all of the accolades, and everybody
Cut it
when
out.
they hear Hester's name, they're like,
Oh,
"Oh
my God.
wow!"
Yeah.
And now then
Yeah.
to have Hester to go and do the phenomenal introduction
Yes.
that he did for our new deputy mayor of the city of Detroit, Malia Howard.
Yes.
I mean, we couldn't ask for no better.
So let me tell you this, though, how divine providence works. So we don't get to these moments by ourselves or
Right.
by mistake. And I like to talk about these special moments that are called kairos. In my opinion, Kamala Harris was a kairos moment. When the right person at the right time and divine providence all converge. Rosa Parks was a kairos moment. And when the right person at the right time and divine providence, and you change the course of history, you break the back of racism or segregation. Nelson Mandela was a kairos moment. His personal sacrifice. So what I'm saying to you is we live these kairos moments. We have to learn to embrace these kairos moments. You're not here by accident.
Yep.
You know, it's bigger than us. So you're well prepared for moments like this. Interestingly, you're talking about connecting people to opportunity. 5 years or so ago, shortly after I started as Assistant Secretary of State, we had a 4-day brainstorming session. What are the challenges that we can help orchestrate solutions? If you could make a difference, what great initiative would you undertake if you knew you could not fail?
Right.
What would you change if you knew you could not fail? And I said, well, we're all about voting rights and driver's licenses. I said, I happen to know at the time, I came down, met with some of your colleagues, and they told us we've got 79,000 Detroiters that used to have a driver's license that no longer has one. For different reasons. We had this onerous driver responsibility
Oh,
fee
yeah. I
that
remember
it was a penalty to poor people. So my point is we fixed that. We've orchestrated a series of workshops. We call them Road to Restoration. I'm also, if you show up, if you got any issue with your driver's license, we're going to help you get to a solution. Because we didn't even provide people with a 1-800 fix your driver's license issue before we started some 6 years or so ago. I am saying, you're talking about connecting people to opportunity. The driver's license, something as simple as a driver's license, is a very, very important tool. I'm also pleased to announce that all 8,000 returning citizens, all 8,000 for the first time in Michigan history, because we had an opportunity to make a difference, will have a driver's license, a state ID, or a voter registration card, simply because we have the power to make things happen. You don't have power if you don't use it. So I'm saying you're in this moment. You get to make decisions. You ain't got to ask permission.
Yep.
You hear what I'm saying? This is our Kairos moment. Malia Howard is our Kairos moment.
Oh.
The right person at the
Don't
right
make me
time.
cry.
No, I'm just saying.
No.
Step into your life.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, people say, did you see where Malia Howard was appointed deputy mayor? Oh, I got to call her. I got to send her a message. Whatever you need. People are just, people love you, Malia, because you've loved them. You follow me? You've made a difference, and we appreciate this moment. We can help a lot of people, but we need the Alexis Wares of the world to pay attention to what the Malia Howards of the world are doing. And let's continue to change the narrative. Some people, I've worked in and out of Lansing for way over 30 years, and I didn't understand why most of the legislation that came out of Lansing was basically Detroit versus the rest of the state. You follow me? It was always this anti-Detroit narrative. But we've got to tell our own story.
Yep,
Right. That's my
absolutely.
point.
Yep.
And so that's why I'm delighted that you're here to articulate the various initiatives that you've been championing. And it really doesn't matter what other people say about you. What matters most is how you feel about yourself.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm a diehard Motown boy. I ain't going nowhere. I'm committed to being a part of the solution. We got a new mayor coming on board this year. We've got a new governor coming on board next year. We got a crazy man in the White House right now. But I can tell you this, resist, resist, resist. When they say get back, we must fight back. And as long as you're part of a solution, the distress will. I gave him 100 days, and I'm already appreciative. After 4 days, the federal court is shutting him down on everything.
Yeah.
Sure did.
On everything.
Sure did.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can't erase race history. You can't deny the racial hierarchy that we live.
Yep.
You can't just act as if everything's peaches and cream and say, okay, going forward, we're going to base everything on merit. You follow me? As if affirmative action don't exist for white folk. It's called white privilege.
Yep.
It's called the microaggressions that black folk have to live every day. You cannot diminish the facts. The data supports everything we've demanded. America's better because of black folk.
Absolutely.
Preach.
Period.
Preach,
Absolutely.
Hester. You know, that's the thing. Every time I hear you speak, Hester,
My man.
I'm thinking about where's the collection plate.
Oh,
Who's gonna
my
be passing a basket around.
Oh, my God.
There's gonna be something,
Bless
and
you,
I'm ready to
Darwin.
reach in my pocket.
Bless
I
you.
am,
No,
Hester,
no.
you know. But you are so right.
Yes, sir.
You know, and
We don't have to apologize for
and we
being
don't.
committed to self-determination. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
We know what we know. And the data will support. The data, the history, and the current reality will support the need for systematic inclusion where there's solid evidence of systematic exclusion. If you leave people to their own volition, black folk will always sit in the back of the bus. I love Nasser Beydoun. I tease him all the time.
I love
Because we
Nasser.
talk about
I love
talk
Nasser.
about the back of the bus. I said every time I go to the airport now, Nasser, all my Arab American friends are in a special line, and they pick black people out like me, and they say, "Hey, brother Wheeler, you come on, you go through this line," and I get through expeditiously, right? And Nasser and all those guys are over there taking their shoes off and putting
I
their
still
belt.
have to take my
You
shoes
do?
off and put my belt up.
yeah,
I don't have a special privilege.
Yeah, but I am saying
But no, that's real.
the best of our days are ahead of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't care how ignorant or narrow or racist. This guy has issued a slew of executive orders. All of them are being resisted by the federal courts. This is where Biden's brilliance pays off. You see all those appointments that Mr. Biden was making
yeah.
in his final days?
Yep.
Guess who's shutting down this fool? You hear what I'm saying? And he issued at least 8 different executive orders that go specifically after DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And all I'm saying is that diversity is a bottom line business imperative. When I worked in corporate, we used to measure the impact of the African American dollar. We used to measure the impact of having African Americans spread out throughout the whole experience. And sometimes you don't even know how to market to certain communities if you don't get that diverse perspective in your planning. You follow me? And the success of Mayor Duggan, for example, everybody on this team looked like Detroit.
We do. Every last person.
Well, you know, I want to ask you, Deputy Mayor, what do you think? Now, this is his last year.
Yeah, good
that he'll
question.
be in office.
Good question.
What are some of the things that he's told you that he'd like to do, and what do you think the legacy that he'd like to leave to the residents of the city of Detroit? And then also, our next guest is the Wayne County Deputy Executive, Asad Turfi.
Yep.
What do you
Asad.
think in terms of say that you believe that he would want to leave for Assad, for Wayne County Executive Warren Evans? What do you think that legacy that he would like to leave to them?
Oh, that's a big question.
Big question.
That's a big question.
Well, you got
You're
big
a
shoulders,
big-
so
you're a
you know
bad
you
sister,
can
though.
have, that's
You
why
got
he
a big
asked you to
answer
be the
for it.
deputy mayor.
That's right.
So, literally, and I'm. This is from my conversations, right? So this is from my perspective. The legacy he wants to leave is the legacy of continued improvement.
Yes.
Right?
that's
Continued growth, continue inclusion, making sure that people are coming back to the city. We've had, I mean, we're at record numbers of people moving back into the city. People want to be in this space. People are enjoying the amenities, the walkability of not just downtown, but midtown. And it is going out into the neighborhoods, right? I live at 8 Mile and Ryan. So I live at the beginning of the city, if you want to call it that. And I can see the changes that are being made incrementally in our communities. So, like, we're looking forward to streetscapes, right? Like, if East 7 Mile could get a streetscape, I would love to see that. That's just a mile down from my house. I can walk down a 7 Mile, right? I want to continue. He wants to continue to see the growth happening in the neighborhoods, that the jobs are coming back more and more, that businesses are continue to grow and thrive, and not just manufacturing jobs, but now this whole corridor. So,
well, you're talking technology.
Let me tell you something.
Go right
So
ahead.
I coined this. So because I'm so embedded with UMCI. So I call this the Arc of Innovation.
Go ahead.
And so because I'm major projects
take notes
manager.
with Malia.
The
Arc of Innovation.
Well, we're
It's the
hoping that
Arc of
Alexis is
Innovation.
taking notes, so you know.
So for me, the Arc of Innovation. So we've always had
Saturday
Tech
and
Town,
the D.
right? Tech Town's always been here, but now, a little further up north, we've got MSU and Henry Ford. That's medical innovation, right? We're building a medical school up there. They're building a new hospital system. They're building new housing.
Yes.
We're creating a new economy. Granted, that corridor has always been the hospital, right? It's historically a medical corridor. But now it's a medical tech innovation research and development
advantage of that corridor, yes.
Right? And so then you go back down south, you've got Tech Town. And you go over a little bit. You come down and you go to the left, you're going to have, Dan Gilbert's new tech innovation hub, right? And you just go over a little to the right and you got UMCI. And then you keep going down and around the corner. You've got New Lab, and you've got I still call it the train station. Y'all have to forgive me.
That's what it is.
The
Yeah,
train
we know
station.
it. Yeah.
And so this, and to me, U of M sits in the center of that. That's why I coined it the Arc of Innovation.
Arc of Innovation.
And Michigan was the center. And so that's our continued growth. That's where we're moving to. And those are the things that he even articulated yesterday at the policy conference. That is where Detroit is going. So again, you start with, and people always forget this, Pullman Porter. Pullman cars ain't starting in Chicago.
That's right.
Pullman Porter started here. They moved to Chicago.
Absolutely.
Right? Milwaukee Junction was the hub of innovation and technology for our city.
Yeah.
All the trains converge there. There's a reason all the trains converge there, right? And so
Because of the innovation.
because the innovation, the manufacturing sector that was starting, the horse and buggy, the carriage sector that was there before the automotive sector came, before the military sector came. That's the legacy the mayor wants to leave. This
And see, that's what I appreciate about
insistence of growth.
That's exactly one of the things that I've appreciated. You guys continue to tell the story. You really can't tell the story about the train station in a holistic fashion unless you acknowledge the impact that the Pullman Porters
Absolutely.
did.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
And thinking about A. Philip Randolph.
That's exactly
Right.
my point.
You know, because that's one of the things, because I'm the vice president of the state for A. Philip
APRI.
Randolph. Right.
Yeah, I know you're a
APRI.
big shot over and over again.
We're trying to be
My
like
man.
you, Hester.
Well,
Trying to be like you.
You better look in the
Definitely
mirror.
trying to be like Malia. So,
just look in the
I
mirror
know
and
I
say,
got a
"Thank you,
ways to
Lord."
go
No,
now.
just
and then our other
stop
guest
playing.
that we've got that's coming on next,
Yes.
Asad Turfi.
Brother
So I'm trying to
Turfi,
be like
my
him
man.
when I get to
My
that,
man.
to that point.
keep
So,
hope alive.
but this I'm gonna say this to both of you. This hour has been so dynamic, and it is gone by so fast.
It has.
And I
That's crazy.
definitely have to. I know you looking
Yeah.
at the watch like, wait a
wow,
minute.
that's actually crazy.
Because I would love to have you both
Yeah.
back on the show
Oh,
again.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I can speak for R.J. Watkins, the station owner.
Yes.
That we would love to have you come back, either collectively or individually.
Yes.
Hester, I have to give you credit because you were my very first guest that I had when we started
I
this Truth to
remember,
Power
yeah.
show.
That's
Only
awesome.
thing
Isn't that
different,
amazing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Hester, where you were not in the studio because
Aha.
you being such in demand.
Well, technology allows for
Technology allowed us,
provisions, yeah.
but now we get a chance
Yeah.
to see the handsome face of Hester
My
Williams
man.
on
Keep talking.
the set.
Go ahead.
Well, Malia's giving you a whole lot of
beautiful,
accolades
isn't she
already.
something? Isn't
So
she beautiful?
now,
Yeah, we
and then
both
the other
look
thing
better.
is that now we have the beautiful Malia Howard,
Yes.
our new deputy mayor, to come on, and we'd love to have you come back on the show
as
again.
many times as
Yeah,
you
we'll-
like me to.
We'll come back.
And even
But
though I'm camera shy, I'm not camera shy because I'm with family.
you are not camera shy.
I'm not camera shy because I'm with family.
Well, you're definitely
You've
camera.
had me. I didn't even have to
You're
ask
definitely
all these
camera
questions
ready.
that I had.
Yeah.
So it was no real need to ask
So
you
let
the
me
questions.
let me tell you why it's so important what you do here, though, Darwin Griffin. Truth to power. What we've learned over the years is if you don't have a position on an issue, anybody can give you one.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we have to tell our own story over and
Absolutely.
over and over again. You talk about the Arc of Innovation. You talk about Saturday in the D. You talk about the community violence intervention. We've got to tell that story over and over and over again. We've got to continue to live with outstretched hands. She's already articulated a half dozen different programs that are making the difference, providing pathways to progress and pathways to prosperity and pathways to the future. Our city is vibrant. Our region is vibrant. A lot of that anti-Detroit foolishness, that anti-black history that we've had to live, we've worked aggressively to overcome. We have to be, and you guys have done a good job. Black folk and white folk have to learn to talk with each other, and people who talk well together will learn to work well together. And I think you've modeled that. Your administration has modeled that. Let's acknowledge the reality. Let's acknowledge the challenges that we live, and let's put some real, meaningful, measurable solutions in place. That's why I've talked a little bit about driver's licenses. It's an important resource for people. And if you've never lost your driver's license, you never think about that issue.
Yeah, because I lost mine this
But
year.
oh, did you really?
And then it was in my pocket.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
got my new
Well,
one,
you
but
know,
it was in my pocket.
But what we did, we spent 4 days. We looked at the reason why you get in and out of a Secretary of State's branch so easily. We spent 4 days. We said, what are the different reasons people have to come? You guys have done the same thing with so many different services. 73 reasons people would go to the Secretary of State branch. Then we said, okay, how many of those issues can we put online? How many of those issues can we resolve if we put them online? How many of those issues can we resolve if we put them at a self-service station or a kiosk? Now you only got 45 reasons to go to a Secretary of State. So what used to take 30 to 45, maybe 2-3 hours, now you're in and out in 15 or 16 or 17 minutes.
Yeah,
You follow me?
that's real.
I mean, that's just customer service improvement, and you guys have done that at every turn. You talk about continuous improvement. You got a lot of reasons to celebrate, but just your presence,
Thank you.
just your presence
Thank
has had huge impacts.
And I want to, before we end, I want to say this. Under the leadership of when we had Nicole Sherrod Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, workforce
And now-
development
yes,
queen.
And under now the leadership of Terry Weems and Dana Williams, Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation, DESC, Detroit at Work. I cannot stop without talking about them. Without the programs that they put in place, like Jumpstart and Earn
They
to
all
Learn,
work.
They work,
They all work.
right? The fact that a Detroiter can now
Yeah.
sign up for a program that's free to them
Yeah.
and learn to be a tractor-trailer driver.
Right.
Learn to work a high-low. Those are good income, good union
Yes.
jobs, right? Good union-based jobs with good incomes that uplift communities and families. And so I'm
awesome.
working with them for Saturdays in the
Yeah.
D, right? So, but I want to uplift their work and encourage everyone. Go sign up for Detroit at Work.
Yeah.
If you need an opportunity,
And-
there are
and-
thousands of jobs open in this city right
And
now.
it's so very important that sometimes we extend a gentle nudge. I'm that beneficiary. I come from a large family. I had 5 brothers, 4 sisters. There were 10 of us growing up. Were it not for Goodfellows, there were some Christmases that we would not have received anything. So to this day, if I see the Goodfellow safety boys out collecting, I always give them all the money in my
Always.
pocket at that moment. That's how important it is to me. But sometimes summer jobs, all of those things make a difference. Our young people need to be encouraged. They need to be nudged. You've got a lot of solutions
And-
that
and
we
we've
can
got
take advantage.
GBYT.
Growing Detroit's young
Growing
talent.
Detroit's
all
young
of
talent.
that, all of that matters. And some of the soft skills that our young people. My wife and I and our son, we manage a mentoring program at Northwestern High School, Detroit Public Schools. Yes. But we've been doing this for over 6 years. We go in and work with 9th graders. And what we've learned is that on day one, we start with at least 30 9th graders. On day one, we ask, raise your hand if you're planning to go to college. Guess how many people might raise their hand out of 30?
I would say all
Think
30.
about it.
Nope. Initially on day one,
About 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Really?
Maybe. But then we start talking about the $1 million impact. The difference between a high school diploma and a college education is at least $1 million over the course of your work career. And so by the time we get to week number 4 or 5, now it's 12 or 15 people. But by the time we get to week number 7 or 8 or 9, everybody in the class is raising their hand.
But you know, Hester, the great thing about that,
Yes, sir.
is that it's ascension.
That's
not
right.
Yeah,
descension.
not
That's exactly right.
That's what makes the difference.
And you just have to keep telling
It's
the
the growth
story.
and keep
Encourage
sharing
our
with
young
them.
people.
Yep.
And that's what I mean when I say the best way to predict the future is to create it.
create it.
We've got to continue
Hester
to
first said that, and I wanted to write that down.
You know
I
I'm
wanted
gonna write it down.
you know,
Did you
everybody's
write
going
it
to write
down,
that one
Alexis?
down.
my
Write
man.
that down.
All I'm saying, we've got to, if young people are not attached to the efforts or the initiatives that we think we're managing, you're out there by yourself. I try and tell Keith Williams all the time. Keith,
I love Keith.
I love him
I
too.
love Keith.
But I say, Keith, if you think you're a leader and you look around and nobody's following you, you're really just going for a walk.
Ooh.
You're just going for a
real.
walk. I mean, so you've got to touch people, and this has to be measurable, and it's got to be meaningful. When I tell you 8,000 people, 8,000 returning citizens can now have a driver's license for the first time in Michigan history, that's because our Department of State called the Department of Corrections and said, come over, let's sit down. Show us your checklist. What happens when a person leaves a Michigan prison? And we looked at that entire checklist, and we say there's no place on here for a driver's license or a state ID. Put it on there. And they said, well, we don't have the money to pay for it. We said, okay, let's go talk to the foundation community, which
Right.
you guys do very
Right.
well.
Oh, yeah, we
and now all those issues go away. I know that there's a solution to everything. But sometimes people need to
Yeah.
be encouraged. People need to be reminded.
And then and also on that note, in order for a child to be encouraged, the family members, the moms, the dads,
That's
the grandmas, the uncles,
That's
the aunts,
exactly right.
whoever is in guardianship of that child, we have to make sure we are encouraging them
That's exactly right.
to continue to move forward, because there are no delayed dreams or deferred dreams. It's a pathway,
Good
right?
for you.
And if somebody
Good,
can
look at
create
it.
a pathway for you, then the whole world opens up an experience for
Madam
that child.
Deaconess. Go ahead.
Everything happens for that
Yeah.
child. And so, and again, that's why we do the adult program for Saturdays in the D, because I don't believe in deferred or delayed dreams. It's your dream. Okay, so now let me figure out how to help you execute. How do I
Right.
get you from A to Z?
That's it.
Because when I get you to Z, I mean, I can go to double A, double B. You know what I'm saying? We can figure it out, right? But when you get there and you moving through that space, and then everybody's watching you, and that child is watching you and celebrating you, now you've opened up that child's eyes to say, I can do that too. My mom, this is real. So I went to college. I went to Central Michigan, ran track. Had to come home because I was getting bad grades, doing all the stuff that kids do.
That's what kids do.
Had one baby, went back to school. No, let me go back to work. Had another baby,
Ooh wee.
went back to school, went back.
See?
Nah, I can't do
You gotta
this.
tell that story.
But when I said to myself, there was like, no, we got to get this done. We got to finish. 2 of my kids, right? Well, and then I was pregnant with Kennedy, so that made 3. Like, I had to work full time, go to college full time.
Good for you.
With
Good
2
for you.
kids, pregnant with a 3rd,
Ooh-wee.
deliver a 3rd,
Ooh wee.
right? All 3 of them watched me walk across the stage at Wayne
That's
State,
right.
but not with 1 degree.
That's
it was
right.
with 2.
2 degrees.
See
Right?
why
And
it's so,
so,
important to
and
tell
having
that
that
story?
degree allowed me to then go do what I wanted to do,
Yes.
which allowed them to succeed
know.
and excel and
They
go
know
do
what they
they
can
want to
do.
do. And
They know what they can
right,
do because
right.
they've watched
Despite
their
whatever
mama.
circumstances you
Yeah.
have, you have to be persistent. There is a pathway for everything. Sometimes you can't sit in your situation. You can't see 5 seconds in front of yourself. You can't, because you're in the midst of it. But if you could see 5 minutes out in front of yourself, even in the midst of all the chaos and swirling, you can get that.
You feel
can
how special
go
she
follow
is?
that path.
You feel how special
You know,
she is?
and that's the thing,
Yeah.
because I always tell young people
Yeah.
when I go out and I speak to a lot of young people,
Yeah.
I tell them, if you fall down on your back. Because if you fall down on your back, you can always
Still-
look and see
Still
yourself.
looking up.
and
Look
you can
up.
still look up.
And I think it's so important to tell that story. A part of the reason I just told the Goodfellow story and the fact that I came from a working poor. Mom and Dad were both there, but there were 6 boys and 4 girls. And we came out of a working poor environment because what happens, we live in this social media era where the stuff you see on Facebook, it ain't real.
That's not real.
Because people only post the good news.
Right, right.
They don't tell you about their struggle. They don't tell you the backstory. But for Malia Howard to articulate that she had 3 children on her way to a college degree, that looks like Detroit.
Yep.
But it looks
That
like
looks
a
like
lot of
Southeast
people.
Michigan.
It looks like
Yeah.
a
That
lot of
looks like a
people
whole
that
bunch of people.
are probably in that same.
That's the
looking at
point.
that same point
That's
that
exactly
she
the
just
point.
made.
'Cause-
They
'cause-
need to hear that testimony.
Yeah,
I'm
so
telling-
that's what I tell people.
We
all the
got
time.
free
I got
lunch.
like 9,000 testimonies.
Yeah.
Pick one. Where are you at? Because I bet you I got a testimony
That's
that
exactly.
I had to move through
So
to get me to this point.
the
So
reason
let me say this.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
we got to wrap up in a minute
Okay.
before Tim comes out and tells me we got to take our next break so we can get to our other special
Yes,
guest.
sir.
But is there anything, Malia, that you would like to say in these closing minutes with you that you'd like to leave to our audience?
Ooh. So what I want to say is, again, lead with an outstretched hand. You have the capacity to help all of those who are around you. You might not even know you have the capacity, but you do. So lead with an outstretched hand. Go help your colleagues. Go help that neighbor. Go help your cousin. Be a servant-led leader. Everybody has the capacity to be a servant-led leader. Lead with an outstretched hand, because that is, again, divinely given to me. Yes. But that is what I was taught as a child by my grandmother. Lead with an outstretched hand.
That's awesome.
That's it. I'm
Well,
done.
I just want to say this. It has been such a plum-pleasing pleasure
My man.
Oh, I love
to
that.
have both you and Hester to be on the show.
Yes.
But one of the things that I want you to say to our viewing audience is that we sometimes have a difficult time, especially with black media, because that's one of the things that people were concerned about when it came down to the Harris-Walz campaign, when it came down to the Biden-Harris campaign. But what can you say, especially to people that may have an interest in getting their story, their testimonies out? Because that's what we do here at Watkins Broadcasting. We try and make certain that people can get their stories out. The Malia Howards, the Hester Wheelers, the Jeremiah Wheelers, and we want to make sure the Alexis Wares. We want to make sure that those stories can get out when we get Asad Tufi on the studio, and, on this set, to ask in terms to say the same thing. But what can you say to the person that may want to get that story out? We're here at WHPR. What can we do? And we'd love to do everything possible to make certain that you, the mayor, and the mayor in the future, that comes into fruition, be it a female, be it a male. What can you say? Because we'd like for you
It's
to
gonna be a
go
female.
and encourage. And that's one of the things. This is kind of like last year everybody was saying was the year of the woman.
Yes.
But now, it seems like it's transcending
I
into
got you.
2025,
Yeah.
and there's no
No,
stopping
I'm
them
just
now.
saying. I'm just provoking.
There's no stopping us.
Right.
But what I would say is, for our communities, please do not forget where we came from. We have black media for a reason.
That's right.
Because we were
And
excluded
necessary.
for so long,
Yeah.
and it's necessary that our voice be heard. And so I would encourage anyone, if you own a small business, if you are running for office, if you are an elected official, if you're a neighborhood busybody like me, come down, schedule time. You can actually come down here and get a show.
That's right.
If you have a voice, you wanna have a platform, you actually can come down here and participate in continuing to grow not just Watkins Media, but other black institutions in media.
And the fact is, we've got to put our money
Participate and put your money where your mouth is.
money where our mouth is. The Democratic Party underperformed because we didn't do the right thing.
There you go. Ooh.
We didn't, and we were looking at numbers all across the state. We saw record voter registration.
Yep.
Guess where it happened? In rural Michigan.
Yep.
And that's how that other guy won, because we did not cultivate and stimulate our base the way we should have.
Yep. We took
You
advantage.
follow me? And there are only certain mediums that connect to our base.
Yep.
So they use the same old playbook. They brought in all these folk from outside, and they did not connect to the people who
Yep.
would have benefited
Yep.
the most. We appreciate it. I know we out of time.
We out of time, but I
Yeah, we
appreciate
got ready to
it.
wrap
all
up.
this movement,
But I do want to say again, it has been a pleasure.
It is my
Plum
pleasure.
pleasing.
Well, we will be back.
Plum pleasing.
And I hope that you definitely will be back.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And whenever, like I said, that you would like to get an opportunity to go and Watkins Broadcasting.
Oh, look at there.
Would love to have.
Look
and
at
we
my
are
man.
joined
He's
by
sharp.
the
Look at
president.
R.J. Watkins.
Oh my goodness.
My man, take
oh
that
my
picture.
Goodness.
I can't give you one of those.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Bless you, R.J. Watkins. My man. Bless you, black
Oh,
man. Look at that coat.
man.
Look at it.
I
Look at
know.
that personality, that president.
Now I don't want to cry.
thank you, sir.
I don't want to cry again on TV. So
Yeah. No, we appreciate
just,
you.
My goodness. And we told the baby. We told her. We was like,
Yeah.
you better Google them. So you know.
Yeah.
But yes,
Thank you for coming.
We will be
No,
back.
we
Thank
appreciate you live your legacy. You've been at
Yes.
this how many years now, R.J.? 40
40.
plus years. Now we appreciate it, and we just wish you good health and wellness going forward.
Absolutely.
But you have made an impact, and you continue to make an impact, and all of us are beneficiaries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
You
so
always
much.
have a home here.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, dear.
Bless you.
Absolutely.
R.J. Watkins, look at there.
that.
Look at that good-looking, distinguished brother there. My man. Thank you, R.J. Watkins.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Darwin Griffin.
Thank you, Darwin.
Thank you. Thank you to
and,
both of you.
Hey, if you
And-
want to make it a weekly thing, let us
Let's
know.
make let's
Absolutely.
get to something.
Let us
real.
know.
That sounds like a plan.
Right.
All right, we will be right back. We are closing this segment with my special guest, Hester
I see
Wheeler.
Asad Turfy. Assalamu alaikum. Ooh, there's Alexis.
You got Alexis Ramsey getting ready to come on, so we're going to be joined again.
Yeah.
So again, we do want to thank you. You always have an open invitation to come back
Yes, sir.
anytime.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
And in
Be
the
safe.
words of Malia Howard, she says, outstretched hands, I say hold the door. When you see somebody running to catch
Hold the
that
door.
elevator or
Hold
to
the
get into
door.
the building,
Right.
Hold the door.
Help
Right.
somebody. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Reverend Jim Holly's International Ministries introduces 2 new publications. The Spirit Speaks, 365 Days in Quotation of Affirmation, and A Saved City is a Safe City. Resources and Bible classes around the country. Purchase your book today for $14.95 or receive both for only $27.95. Call her right now while supplies last. Reverend Jim Holly, 258 East Milwaukee Street, Box 27, Detroit, Michigan, 48202 or 313-871-2800.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Maureen Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Tune in to the I Love the Hustle show, Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m., followed by Mr. Smooth's Ballroom and Steppers Express Dance Show on WHPR 15.2 Detroit, Apple TV, Roku, and many streaming platforms. See you Saturday.
And welcome back to Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin. And as you see, we are joined by two additional special guests for the Truth to Power show in this last hour. And again, we definitely want to thank Hester Wheeler and the new deputy mayor of the city of Detroit, Malia Howard. And now we have, I thought it couldn't get any better, but now we have, I'll go to my immediate right, and we have the person that probably in the city of Highland Park needs very, very little introduction because everyone knows the Honorable Alexis Ramsey. There's so much that Alexis has done here in the city of Highland Park that they probably are going to have a plaque that probably, or statue that'll probably be here somewhere in the city on Manchester Boulevard or somewhere that has her likeness in the city of Highland Park. The Honorable Alexis Ramsey. Thank you for being on Truth to Power today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Darren.
And we are also joined by a young man who, when Safe asked me to have him to be on a panel discussion that we had through Western Wayne County NAACP, and we were looking for people to be on a labor luncheon panel. And I was asking Safe, did he want to be on the panel? Safe, no. Not me. Get the Wayne County Deputy Executive, Asad Tafi, to be on the show. And when I met you, I could feel the greatness even in our handshake.
Absolutely.
There are people that shake hands, and sometimes the handshake is something where you've got one hand on top of the other hand. You shook my hand, and it was straight side by side. There was no big I, little U's. It was a we. And again, Asad Tafi, Wayne County Deputy Executive, we are having a very, very phenomenal time with having you in the presence of all of us here at Watkins Broadcasting.
No, it's definitely my honor to be here. And
well, it is our honor to have you.
Absolutely.
To have you here. But I couldn't think of anybody else better to have this journey with for this last hour than Alexis Ramsey. Asad, let me ask you. Am I calling you Asad, or do you want me?
Asad's fine.
Asad, I want to ask you just a little bit about you and your upbringing, your background, and more in terms of say about who Asad Tafi is. We'll get to the part about being the Deputy Wayne County Executive, yes. But let's talk about Asad Tafi and your beginnings.
Yes. So I was the oldest sibling of 4 children. My parents are both immigrants. They both immigrated to this country from Lebanon. And being the oldest child, my parents didn't speak any English, didn't read or write in the English language. So being the oldest, I was always the one that my parents looked to help navigate through government. And, you know, the one thing that I learned at such a young age, that, you know, government is very complicated, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes government has programs, they just don't have the bridge and the access to the people that actually need the programs. And, you know, growing up, I, you know, had to navigate so many challenges for my parents, you know, everything from, you know, applying for the welfare system and food stamps and going through all those things, waiting in line at the Focus Hope line to get your peanut butter and cheese. We did all that. And as I got older, I understood something. And sometimes the best way to get access is to join. And I joined the Wayne County Sheriff's Office a year out of high school back in 2002. And I started to work my way up the ranks. And at some point, the former sheriff, who now county executive Warren Evans, was the sheriff of the time, and I started working for him back in 2007, and worked my way up the ranks. I left the sheriff's office, never really technically left. I just transferred over to the executive's office in 2015. But my last rank that I held with the sheriff's office was a police lieutenant, and then I joined County Executive Warren Evans. Was elected county executive of the county of Wayne, and asked me to come over and work for him. The county was in a bad spot back in 2015, and really was honored to join County Executive Warren Evans a great deal. He was actually somebody that had a big influence on my life, my professional life growing up, and through the Wayne County. And to have that opportunity to work for him 10 years ago was definitely a privilege that sometimes, we always say the opportunity doesn't come to everyone. And it was an opportunity that I was blessed upon. And I served as chief assistant for a couple years. I was county executive Warren Evans chief of staff for a little over 4, and I've been the deputy county executive now for a little over 2.5 years. Awesome. And definitely very privileged and honored, and happy to be here. And I'm not one to shy away. Sometimes, I love the name of the show, Truth to Power, right? I always speak my heart. I speak the truth, and I'm speaking from 42 years of experience. And there's definitely a lot of challenges, and the one thing that I take a lot of pride in is ensuring that I'm always that bridge and that access to communities of color, and ensuring that people have the access that they need to be able to get the services to give them an opportunity at success.
And just, I'll let you ask a question, Alexis, real quick, but I just want to ask you, recognize the staff that brought you here today.
Yes.
Who are the people that are here in the studio with us today? Penelope and Safe. Talk about them.
Yes. So Penelope is our Deputy Director of Communications.
Okay.
She's definitely a great person. She's been with us for, I think, about 2 years now. Definitely a very bright individual in the communication arena, and she's got a very promising career coming. She's very, sometimes when you get into the comms world, as you know, you got to be able to know how to navigate through the media and through the process, and she does an excellent job doing exactly that and preparing the county executive and other individuals that work for the administration to ensure that they're prepared. And Safe, I've known Safe over the years, and as watching his upbringing and how he's developed into a very productive young man. And a few years back, Safe approached me and was looking for a job. And I looked at him. I said, "Well, you're not ready yet for the county." And I kept watching him, and he went and was working at out county with one of the mayors, and then ended up transferring to Smart. And then one day I run into him, and I asked him how things are going at his job, and he gave me some feedback, and I looked at him. I said, "Remember 5 years ago when I said you weren't ready?" I go, you're ready now. Are you ready? And he said, "Yes, sir." And he definitely joined the team. And Safe is somebody that when I looked at him, I seen myself in. And he had some struggles growing up, and I had some struggles growing up. And
we all have.
We all have. And I've seen those things out of him. And sometimes, he's got that hunger. He shows up with that hunger. And, you can't teach that hunger. And it's built inside of you. And, and that's, when we go around and we look for people to join the team, and we look for, bringing the diversity and inclusion. I know we're seeing now on the national stage, they're scaling back on the diversity, inclusion, and equity programs. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And, County Executive Warren Evans has put together a team that when you look at the team, it's a makeup of Wayne County. That's what Wayne County looks like. And it's not just a team. We are really good at what we do. When you look at the county executive, we were on the brink of bankruptcy. We had a junk bond rating. Today, We have a rainy day fund that is very healthy. We have a AA bond rating and a great credit score, which means when we want to go out and do services like infrastructure projects and we need to loan money, then we get it at a cheaper interest rate, which means we can loan more money to be able to do more things. And, you know, County Executive Warren Evans has done a tremendous job of turning the county around and, you know, and putting it back in a place where of credibility and honor.
Well, they're talking about the county. So just tell us some of the great things that you guys are doing throughout Wayne County and in different communities that you'd like to highlight.
Yes. So one thing that I'm proud of, County Executive Warren Evans' administration, one thing that he really instilled in us is collaboration. You know, I didn't realize how disconnected the county was to its local communities until really we were hit with that coronavirus, you know, with the whole COVID-19 pandemic and all the challenges. And from that moment on, we changed the way we do business, right? We started communicating way more with our local communities and having daily conversations with all 43 communities in Wayne County. And from there, we kept growing and we kept getting better. And that's what good teams do.
Right.
Good teams discover a problem, they identify the problem, they acknowledge the problem, and they figure out how they got to fix it. And some of the things that we were able to do just, you know, in the last year, under the direction of County Executive Warren Evans and our health department, which is led by Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed, we just created a program to get rid of medical debt for people.
Yes.
And, you know, eventually we're going to be able to help out 300,000 residents that live in Wayne County, $700 million of medical debt. We know what medical debt could do to people. And when you have those medical debts and you have to make a decision, either pay to keep the lights on or pay your medical health bills, sometimes those things hold you back. And you're never ever get ahead because you got these unpaid medical bills. The thing with medical bills, it's nothing we sign up for. You know, you get sick, you need the health care to stay alive. And when you get that health care, it comes with a bill. And, you know, a lot of times if, you know, God forbid, you end up in a hospital, they never ever give you a menu and tell you, well, this procedure costs this much amount of money and that costs that amount of money, like you do when you go to a restaurant, you order food, right? You get a bill in the mail and sometimes you can't afford that bill.
Correct.
And what we want to do is ensure that we're creating the space for people to be successful. So, you know, just before Christmas, the first batch of those, 46,000 letters went out to help out 46,000 individuals. And that's a big deal. Those are some things that we're really proud of. And it was really like individuals are just surprised. They got a letter in the mail saying that your medical debt has been wiped out, you know, by the county executives program, which was supported by our Wayne County Commission. Chairwoman Alicia Bell was a strong supporter of that program as well. We joined a nonprofit group, Undo Medical Debt, where it was a collaboration, and that's the key. It's coming together, collaborating with different groups and organizations to create programs that help out real people with real challenges.
That's wonderful. That's powerful.
Well, you know, and the one thing too is that there's so many different things that Wayne County is doing. The airport, the innovations at the airport. Now you've got a bridge that's getting ready to transverse between Detroit and Windsor. What are some of the others, Alexis was saying, what are some of the other major accomplishments that you've seen here in Wayne County under the Evans administration?
Yeah, so, I mean, the fiscal stuff, going from a junk bond rating to a AA, that's like taking your credit score from 450 to 720. You know, when you got a 720 credit score, you could do a lot more. And people respect you differently, you know, as an agency, as an organization. And so people want to team up with those that are doing it right. And it allows the opportunity to bring more people to the region, to the area, to be able to do different programs. You mentioned the airport. The airport's a world-class airport. And one of those terminals is named after our county executive, Warren Evans, you know, the North Terminal. And, you know, and that really is a testament. You know, when you have a world-class airport, we got one of the best airports in the country right here in Wayne County. And what is that airport? The airport is essentially the gateway to the world. And, you know, when you have that world-class airport here, it sets us up as a region. And the cooperation, the collaboration between County Executive Dave Coulter in Oakland County and County Executive Mark Hackle in Macomb and Warren Evans here in Wayne County, them three work together better than any other in time in history that I could recall of any three county executives. And when you have a region that's working together, you're able to do some really good things. And, you know, Mayor of the City of Detroit, Mike Duggan, has done a tremendous job in the City of Detroit. We just had Malia Howard here, the Deputy Mayor, great person, and I got a chance to see her and see her in action. She's definitely a beautiful person, and a person that's competent and does a great job for the city every day. And, you know, those are the type of things, when you come together, you're able to do some really good thing. And we're hoping this next year, the project that we're working on is to bring transit to Wayne County, where we have no communities that are opting out of the bus services. And, you know, you know, there was an old law that was passed in the late 80s that allowed for a transit system to work in Wayne County, but there was communities that were allowed the ability to say, we don't want to be involved. And not to get into all the history, you guys all know the history.
Yes. We do.
You know it very well, and you know, and it's unfortunate, but we've progressed as a society. And you know, and the one thing that for us, we got to connect all 43. So
Absolutely.
This past fall, we led an initiative in Lansing where we were able to amend that old law and change it, where now the voters will have the opportunity to decide what they would like. And we're going to spend all 25 working with all 43 communities in Wayne County, every city and every township, to figure out what are their needs, and then try to create a program that we're able to take to the voters in 26 and educate the voters, and hopefully it's successful. And now we'll be on the same level playing field as Oakland and Macomb and Wayne, and there is no transit gaps. And now we could really figure out how to make Wayne County even better.
Absolutely. I love it. So I'm just hitting on the transportation piece, because I know at one time it was like a tri thing that you guys had going on where you wanted to connect Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb. When it comes to the Q line, for instance, is there any plans to expand it out possibly? I know Highland Park causes you guys a little small issue because of the way our lanes get a little smaller, but is there any plans to take it up Woodward Avenue through Oakland County and possibly through Macomb?
Yeah. So initially when the Q line came in, that was the discussion, right? And, you know, after it was put into place, now the Q line is operated by the Regional Transit Authority.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
RTA, which is essentially a region that's thinking about transit. I don't know, there hasn't really been any real solid conversations. From time to time that conversation does come up.
Okay.
But I think right now we got to look at, there's a lot of wisdom and simplicity, right? Doing things in steps. And I think right now the first step is to connect Wayne County
With the bus transportation.
with the bus transportation, with all 43 communities. So if you live in the city of Detroit and you got to get to your doctor's office, which happens to be in Canton Township, you should be able to get on a bus and get there.
Absolutely.
You know? Or if you live in the city and you work in the suburbs, you should be able to get on the bus and get there. And you should be able to get there and not have to rely on a car. And I think this is what the most important thing is we got to connect our people, because our people need to get to their jobs, they need to get to school, they need to get to healthcare appointments, they need to be able to move around without having the ability of owning a car, because sometimes
Absolutely.
some people can't afford a car. And you know, growing up, we didn't own a car in my family until I was 15 years old. You know, so everywhere our feet took us, or if we couldn't get on a bus, we didn't go there. And you know, a lot of times we just stayed in our little space, and you know, where our feet took us is where we went. And I think the idea here is to ensure that people could move around the county, be able to get to work, school, and you know, and a lot of times we don't think about this, but like the senior population and the disabled population, you know, they need a way to get around as well.
And you know, and that's the thing too. I was going to say this too, real quick. The arteries that lead from the airport to the surrounding communities, because you know, there's a lot of concern about trying to get to the airport. You know, from Detroit, from Livonia, from other communities. You know, in and around Wayne County. Is there any more talk about that in terms of, say, to try and get that kind of transit to get from the airport to the other arteries around?
Yeah, so there definitely is conversation. So the RTA, the Regional Transit Authority, this past last year, they started a line, right, where people could get on a bus from downtown and go straight to the airport for $8. All right,
Express, I think.
It's Express, yeah, the DAX system, and that's a big deal because now you don't have to drive a car and park it at the airport at $30 a day or whatever it is. $8 will get you there, and when you get back, $8 will get you back. And these are the ideas as we progress with RTA and our transit system. We need to have more lines like this going all across the region, for people to be able to come from wherever to get to the airport and so forth. And eventually, hopefully, we get to a point down the road where you're able to go from Detroit to Ann Arbor, right? And be convenient and go from, Macomb County down to Wayne and Wayne out to Oakland and connecting all of us together as a region and to be able to do it conveniently. One thing that I realized, especially around the NFL draft, there was a lot of, the different transit entities stepped up. They had more lines that were put in place for the NFL draft to allow people to move around. And when I came downtown for the draft that day, I planned usually it's a 12-minute ride to get to downtown from where I live. And so I planned for an hour. It took me 15 minutes. And it took me 15 minutes because people use transit that day.
Yes.
Everybody knew it was going to be traffic. I can't get there with my car. So I'm going to take the bus. I'm going to take Ubers. I'm going to take ride shares. I'm going to take, whatever entities out there. And guess what happened? It worked.
It did.
It worked. And that was a trial run. And it was not only it worked, we put on a performance for the world, and we did a phenomenal job with that.
Absolutely.
Well, and we got to take a break in a second, but I want to ask you, Asad, you talked about family. You talked about your upbringing. What is the one thing that you would probably say that your mom or your dad would say to you right now, seeing how you've elevated in the ranks and look at you today?
I would think they're very proud. I lead with heart. I lead with compassion, and I lead with care. And I think I got those traits from my mother. My mother is a very loving person. She's a person that is strong in her faith and her belief in God.
Absolutely.
And she instilled that in all her kids. And, they walk with their head held high.
And then just because I know we're about to take the break, and I want to get to your question, Alexis, but what would you give advice to your children that would take them on in the path that they may lead in the future?
I have a 14-year-old son, and we always have these, as teenager boys, they start to develop, and he's a fine young man, a bright young kid. I think the best thing is don't try to take the easy path. Don't take the easy road. Put in the time, put in the work, put in the effort. Try to understand other people, right? Because you want other people's perspectives. And I think the more perspectives and the more understanding and the more diversity that you bring into your life, the better decisions you're able to make. And
that's a great message to leave. We got to take a break, so I want to come back to that. I've got my very special guest, Miss Alexis Ramsey, the Honorable Alexis Ramsey, and Wayne County Deputy Executive Asad Turfi. We'll be right back.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
Florine Jackson thought she had it all until she was faced with the challenges of raising an autistic child. Inspired by Autism is her brutally honest journey filled with heartbreak and triumph. Get your copy and find the support you deserve today by visiting www.claudinejackson.tv.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Coltech Appliance Sales and Service, 7441 East 7 Mile Road. Over 20 years experience. We repair air conditioners, washers, dryers, ranges, refrigerators. We sell a full line of reconditioned appliances. We service most major brands. We also feature a senior citizen discount. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, call 313-891-4900. Coltech.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Back, you are watching Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and I am being blessed to have Wayne County Deputy Executive Assad Taufiq, as well as the Honorable Alexis Ramsey. Now, let me ask you this before we went to break, in terms of, say, you talk about the legacy that you're leaving. What is the legacy that Warren Evans would like to leave when his administration may transcend into another journey? What is it that Warren Evans is the most proud of in Wayne County right now?
Yeah. I've worked for County Executive Warren Evans in one capacity or another at least for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that in that 15 years, what I've learned about Warren and some of the things he did prior to me working for him, he's always been a fixer. You know? When there's a problem, he fixes it. And, this is even going back to our sheriff's office days. And when Warren was the sheriff of Wayne County, we had the second largest police organization in the state of Michigan. We were doing a whole lot of things. And, everywhere we went, we had a slogan. So what could Brown do for you, right? Absolutely. We're here to help you to try to reduce crime in your neighborhoods and in your community. So create a safe environment for everyone. And, when he came into the county executive's office on the brink of bankruptcy, there, unfortunately the prior administration, there was, some scandals and some issues. And coming into that, he changed that reputation.
He did.
And he changed that reputation and he fixed it. And, the county executive has really connected Wayne County and fostered a environment of collaboration and working together. And, one thing about, Warren Evans, he doesn't speak unless he means something. And he puts his heart in it and he puts his passion and he deeply cares to ensuring of helping creating an environment for people to thrive. And not just that, he has demonstrated the ability to hire people of color. and give them opportunities for them to grow and to be able to do other things. And I think that's, the county executive said this years ago. I use it all the time. I steal it. And he says, brilliance is evenly spread among all walks of life. What isn't evenly spread is the opportunity. And it's our job to create that opportunity for people to be successful. And if there's anything that I would say that, I'm speaking for him right now, but, it's just my opinion, but he's created an opportunity for people to be successful. And just like with undue medical debt, he's creating an opportunity for people to be successful. And I think that's important.
Absolutely.
So is there anything that is coming up? Is there anything in particular that you, County Executive Evans, would like to, that you may be working on right now, that you could kind of give us a scoop in terms of something that's maybe a little bit down the pipeline that might be coming about? Alexis, we were talking during the break about the Greenway and about, other things. But is there something else that you could give our viewing audience about what's going to happen with Wayne County?
Yeah, so if I could just touch on this, I know a few years ago we were hit with some storms, right? Okay. And I remember coming right down to Highland Park and coming down here, helping out residents clean out the mess that was created from the flooding in their basements and everywhere. And I think it was pretty bad. And we've realized that we've known it for a long time. We have some serious infrastructure issues, and with our drains, with the way water flows, and a lot of communities in Wayne County have grown over the years. Where there used to be farmland and green space is now residential homes, and it's created hard space. So that water's got to go somewhere. Right. President Joe Biden, on his way out, gave Wayne County $70 million of HUD money that we haven't received the money yet, but we are formulating plans right now to figure out how to best spend this money to ensure that we could prevent future flooding in the area in our county and in places like the city of Detroit and Highland Park and all across Wayne County. So I think that is something right now that's like, it's still premature. We're still trying to figure out what is the best, but I'm confident we're gonna come up with some good programs to help out the people, and also as we looking at our health projects, right? Our job is to create the environment. I always say this, like leaders in general are not necessarily responsible for the results, right? Leaders are responsible for the people that are responsible for the results.
Yes.
And responsible for creating a healthy environment for people to succeed. I truly believe this at my core. You could take a good person that's done really good things and put them in a bad environment, and they're going to do bad things. You could take a person that has not done so good things and put them in a good environment, and they're going to do good things.
Absolutely.
And I think environment is so important, and we're going to continue to work to help create the space and an environment for people to be successful and to be able to thrive. And one thing that we're very proud of under County Executive Evans' leadership is our juvenile detention facility. We had some challenges after COVID with a lack of residential beds, but we've invested so much money in ensuring that these kids have an opportunity at the future and creating diversion programs and giving the juveniles an opportunity. And when I walk through that juvenile detention facility and I talk to those juveniles, I realize why they're there. They're there because sometimes there's a lack of love where they came from, and we have to be able to create a space where they feel like they're a part of something and create programs to give them that hope for them to do great things in the future.
Yeah, but I was just hitting on the juvenile system, but also just within your health department. I know that Dr. Assad was Abdul Saeed. Yes, has done some great things over there. Would you like to highlight some of the things that you guys are doing in the health department through Wayne County?
Yes, we were just actually about 3-4 months ago, we announced the program right here in Highland Park, Vision to Learn. And
with the glasses.
Yeah, so this is some of the things that we're talking about. So when I went to school, the Wayne County came through and they test you for your hearing and they test you for your vision, and if you do a screening and if you fail the test, they give you a referral that you take home, and then your parents are supposed to get you to a doctor's office, right, to get the glasses. Well, what if you can't get to the doctor's office? What if you don't have a car? my situation, we didn't have a car. We couldn't get there. So guess what never happened? The follow-up appointment. So when we look at these things at the county, what we're doing now with this program is we do the screening, and then if there's a referral, we bring a van to the school, and the kid goes out to the van and gets his eyes checked. And then once they get their eyes checked and they figure out which grade lens they need, then they get a chance to pick out their frames, and then the child has a pair of eye frames that they like and they enjoy, and then those same glasses are delivered right to the school 2-3 weeks later.
Absolutely.
And that is like creating the process to be successful, right? Creating the environment. And when we went to that school and we're giving these children these glasses, there was a young child that I will always remember. She walked up and you could see she was a little timid. She didn't have the confidence, and the pair of glasses that she had on was taped right down the middle. And unfortunately, we were all kids. We know how kids are. Sometimes they tease each other, and you could see she didn't have that confidence, right? And confidence is so important in instilling in young children. The minute she got those glasses off and they gave her her new set, you've seen her perk up, you've seen a smile on her face, and I'll tell you, that was a very powerful moment, just watching her take off her old glasses, and her entire demeanor changed. Everything changed. She instantly started to glow, head up high, and I have no doubt that she's going to do way better in school because of that. And sometimes if we don't get the glasses, you can't read the chalkboard, and then they start to think something's wrong with you. No, I mean, there's something wrong. I can't read. I can't read the board. I can't see it. I understand how to read. I just can't see the letters on the board. And I think that is like the things that, when we talk about creating the environment to be successful, those are examples of creating an environment for people to be successful.
Absolutely. I love that. As well as you want to talk about the Greenway as well, just some of the great things you guys have done and how you partnered and how we're going to connect communities that way as well, right?
Yeah, so so the Joe Louis Greenway, I'm a board member of the Joe Louis Greenway, and Wayne County, under the direction of our county executive, Warren Evans, we've invested $20 million in the Joe Louis Greenway, particularly in the Highland Park portion. And I went around and did a tour of the Greenway with the county executive. Man, it's such. The first time I got the idea of what the Joe Louis Greenway is, I fell in love with it.
Yes.
It's essentially, if you go down certain neighborhoods where you had industrial junk just laying around everywhere, and now they went through and cleaned this up and created us a park right in people's backyards. That is an example of also creating a safe environment for people to thrive. And what's happening right now in the Greenway? I have not seen a home in the neighborhood of Detroit being built in my 20 years that I've worked in the city, 22 years. Right off a Warren, Warren near Livernois, right on where the Greenway is over there. I went down the Greenway, was doing a drive-through. Somebody's building a 1,200 square foot home right on the Joe Louis Greenway.
Really?
That's a big deal. It's not a massive home, but it's 1,200 square feet that somebody felt like this is a good investment to put my family here. And these are the kinds of things that change a neighborhood, because I guarantee you someone else is going to build another home.
Well, it becomes infectious.
Before you know it, you got a neighborhood.
Exactly.
And neighborhood I grew up in, there was kids, there was parks. I mean, there wasn't these days all the social media and the tablets that the kids are on. Our entertainment was the streets. And we just got to make sure that the streets are safe.
Absolutely.
Right. And see, the other thing that now, what are some of the legislative policies and priorities that you've had when it comes down to pushing forward, especially after what happened with the lame duck session? And what are some of the policies that you were trying to get implemented that you may have or you may not have had?
So the big one, the one we were successful on, is our transit bill. Okay. There definitely was a lot of challenges at the end of the year there with the Democratic-led House, but we were able to get the bill through, and it was one of the very few bills that got through, and it was just having a great team and a great staff that was resilient, that didn't just take no for an answer. And you think about in our lives, how many times we were told no.
Absolutely,
You know,
yes.
I mean, the idea is every time you're told no, you just find another way to come back and ask.
Right.
You know, and you know, I mean, that's the thing about resilience. You know, and we were successful in getting that bill passed. And you know, when we went down the road, we were told that it's impossible. Like, you understand the politics that you're trying to dive into here, and at the end of the day, we were trying to do what's right. Like, we believe we are one. We are one Wayne County. We need to connect our 43 communities. And there may have been a time where people stayed right in their neighborhood. It's no longer the case. People now
Yes.
travel all over the place in the county to get to their schools, to get to their work, to come downtown and go, you know, do your enjoyment, whatever you do in your recreational time. And it's important to get us connected. You know, we were successful in doing that. And there were some other bills that we were working on from you know, when we all across the country now, there's a general workforce challenge, right? Where individuals are having a hard time, organizations finding general workforce employees. It's a challenge everywhere. So there was another bill that we were in strong support of that we never got, which gives the ability for Wayne County employees that once they retire, that, you know, they would have to leave for a period of time for IRS rules, but they're able to come back and work at the county and still collect their pension checks.
Really?
Because right now there's a law in place that prevents an employee from retiring and then coming back and working. And you know, at one point it was really frowned upon. When you have a lot of people lining up to take these jobs and need these jobs, I understand that argument. But when you have 300 vacancies right now in the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and we need 300 jobs, we got to find creative ways to fill these jobs. And we're going to continue doing the recruiting and the different efforts that we've always done, but now we create a space to keep that institutional knowledge in. And you know, and the one thing is that I've learned is, you know, having an employee that's been there, a good employee that's been there for 30 years, that's like a dedicated employee to the organization.
Absolutely.
And you know, unfortunately now we don't see that necessarily the case anymore. People don't join organizations and say, I'm going to be here for 30 years. You know, and the idea of keeping that institutional knowledge in house is important to ensuring we can get the job done, do it smooth, fast, and have a level of experience that this individual brings to the table with problem solving that could help the greater good.
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to, and I'm going to let you ask your question. Well, I'll let you ask your
go
question
ahead,
first. The thing is that we know that this was a real interesting election. We know that there were a lot of people that were disappointed because of the result of the election. And we know there were people that were pleased with the election results. You took a stance. You supported Kamala Harris. You may have gotten pushback, or did you get pushback from your community as to the support that you gave to the Harris Waltz campaign?
Yes. So,
and why did you support Harris?
Yes, no, good question. I always do what I believe is right.
Okay.
I always do the right thing, regardless if it's popular or unpopular. And I believed that Kamala Harris, given the opportunity that we just talked about, if she was given that opportunity, she may have ended up being the best president we've ever had. And, you know, when we look at communities of color, and then I'm going to talk about my community, the Arab American community, over the last 20 years, there's been one party that has really stood with our community, and that is the Democratic Party. Now, is there challenges? Of course there is. Are we always happy with the Democratic Party? No. We're not. There's always issues. There's always things that we are unhappy about. But do you know what they do for us? They give us that access. They give us a seat at the table. We have the ability to pick up the phone and call. And being an official, a person, I am in a position where people call me when they have problems with government. You know, I have an idea of what the issues are out there that people need help and concerns about. And in my expertise, and I say this, I'm not a plumber, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an engineer, I'm a government employee. All right, I consider myself an expert in this area, and I believe that the best person to lead this nation was Kamala Harris, and I believe that at my core. And when you look at a leader's here, right? But the leader sets the tone for the rest of the organization. in this case here, when you think about what do you want in your leader? You want a leader that's caring, compassionate, that's got the experience, that's able to get that other perspective that we just talked about, right? To be able to, you could sit down with her and be able, she will hear you out, so she understands where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
To be able to create programs that matter. And unfortunately, the other guy doesn't think that way, or at least, he's demonstrated that, maybe things change, and we'll continue to be, cross our fingers, but I believed in her at my core, and I did get pushback from a portion of the population in my community, which, in honesty, it did hurt, because I've always felt like I represented well, and I represented with honors, and it was particularly from the younger generation. And I think sometimes the younger generation, I'm 42 years old, so I'm kind of like in between there, between young and, the more senior generation. And, but with senior generations comes experience. Like, you've got history. You've had battles that, the things that we get right now that we take for granted, 30 years ago, we're not there,
Absolutely.
And sometimes the young generation doesn't quite understand because they never lived it. And, there definitely was a war, in Palestine and in Lebanon, and a lot of people died. A lot of innocent people died, and a lot of people were hurt. And I think the environment just definitely was one where people were in a state of emotions and distress, and they were grieving, and I was grieving as well. Like, I lost both my grandmothers in 2006 when the war with Israel and Lebanon happened in 2006. Both my grandmothers died of Israeli bombs. Like, I understand the struggle firsthand. I know what that's like. I've been there. I've done that. But I also lived in a George Bush era. I lived when Arab Americans and Muslims were being targeted after 9/11. Like, I lived in that. I was I'm not married now, I'm divorced, but when I was married, my wife came here at the age of 3 years old, and she immigrated here from Lebanon, and she was living in the American dream, went to school, got good grades, she was in college, we got married. We were married for about a year, and on one morning at 1 o'clock in the morning, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, at my door, there to arrest my wife, because she had an immigration situation that she didn't even know about. She didn't even know about. And when you looked at my ex-wife, she actually looks white, and I look like the immigrant, and, they came for her. They came to rip my family apart. Like, I lived through that. And I understood that the party, the individual, the person that could help somebody that's in that situation was Kamala Harris. And I supported her wholeheartedly. I wasn't like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I was 2 feet in all the way. And, and people come up to me now and say, hey, do you regret it? No, I don't regret it. I'll do it all over again. I'll do it all over again. I won't change one thing about it. And, but I also respect the process. I respect the democracy. The American people spoke, and they elected President Donald Trump in that role.
Absolutely. Well, we're wrapping up now, right?
Well, we got about another 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I'll let you ask, and then I'll ask aside the last question, but I'll let you ask.
Okay. Well, just hearing your experience, it's heart-wrenching, but it shows the power that you have to continue and to stand on what you believe in. And my father, he always says, stand for something or fall for anything, right? And so I'm just very grateful to hear, your story and the things that have happened. But let me say, what are 3 things that you could say the Democratic Party needs to do right now to strengthen ourselves?
Yeah. Access is so important, right? And sometimes what ends up happening is when individuals get up into senior leadership positions, they tend to talk to other senior leaders in their positions. We need to get down to the grassroots. We got to talk to the people, and we need to bring the people into the process, and we need to really listen to what the people want.
Absolutely.
And then formulate plans and strategies on how to deliver that, and to make people feel like they're welcomed and that they belong to something.
Absolutely.
And they are part of the solution.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing that the Democratic Party could do moving forward. And there's a lot of good Democrats out there, and we need to be able to reach them and make them feel that they're a part of the process.
Absolutely, especially our young people. You mentioned that. That's one of our biggest issues and hurdles that we're facing.
So is there anything that you would like to say in our closing minutes that may be either a misconception that people have about the services that are offered by the Wayne County Executive and your office?
Yeah, I think when people look at government is very complicated. I've been there for 22 years, and half the time I don't understand it.
Because some people don't understand the difference between city and county government.
Yes. So every municipality has responsibilities, right? So cities and township usually they deal directly with the citizens, right? Through your DPW programs and police and fire and services as such, and residential neighborhood. A lot of the residential neighborhood services are done by the cities and townships. The county, we have 5,000 lane roads that we're responsible for. We got a health department. The county executive oversees the county finances of $2.2 billion. That's a lot of money. 3,000 employees. We have a health department that, when people have public health challenges, this is the best way that I could describe a health department. When you get sick, you go to the doctor. That's reactive, right? Public health department's job is to ensure that they're creating the environment so you don't get sick.
So it's proactive.
Proactive, right? It's a proactive initiative, and I think the best way is to connect with us, right? We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on social media. Connect there, find out the programs that we're working on. We have regular updates in the communities that we go out with. That's one thing that County Executive Warren Evans really instills in us, is to ensure that we are that access, that bridge from the programs to the people. And it's our job to be the bridge in between. And everything from every program, and sometimes it still happens even in today's environment, where sometimes we do a great program, we go out there and we advertise it, and we put it on social media, and we talk to people. And then somebody's like, oh, I never heard about it. Never heard about it. And the thing is, we just got to keep working harder and ensuring that we're talking about all these programs. And, the county's really in a really good place right now to thrive and do some, even more great things in the future. And, leadership does matter. And Warren Evans has done a tremendous job in ensuring that the county is in good hands. And I've had the privilege of working for him, and I've learned a lot from him. And he definitely had a huge influence on my professional upbringing, and I'm in debt to that man for life.
Well, absolutely. I do want to thank Pastor Velma Jean Overman for giving me the opportunity to have you here. I do want to speak on behalf of our president, R.J. Watkins, to invite you to come back anytime that you'd like to come back.
I would love that.
And if there's anything that we can do here at Watkins Broadcasting to assist with any initiatives that you may be doing through the county executive's office, please don't hesitate.
Yes, of course.
And if you want to come back and announce something, we would love to have you to come back.
Of course.
And I do want to thank Penelope. I want to thank Safe. I want to thank Alexis Ramsey, the Honorable Alexis Ramsey, for doing this and being on this journey with us.
Thank you.
And again, to you, and I'd like to say you're my brother from another mother.
Yes.
But I appreciate you coming on the show and being a part of this show and this episode of Truth to Power.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
You're watching Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, with my special guest today, the Honorable Alexis Ramsey, and the Deputy Wayne County Executive, Asad Tafi. Have a great rest of this day.